कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि.
Reminded of a film I saw about, I think it was 15 years ago the film was made, which was a series of conversations with quantum physicists and some mystics, to use that word. And the whole premise of the film was that the mystic and the quantum physicist is seeking an answer to the three basic questions, which are, who am I, where have I come from, and where am I going? I did not understand the film then. I am hoping that you would be able to throw some light on the three questions and, what the physicists and the mystics are seeking.
So you are asking me who you are?
Kind of.
See, it's all right to walk on the street, point at one of you and say, who are you? It's okay. You go to somebody and say, who am I? This happened in the Cincinnati airport. People had lined up to check in at the check-in counter. One man came briskly, jumped the line, went straight to the counter and thrust his ticket. The lady at the counter said, "Sir, there is a line, please." She said, "No, I'm in a hurry." Well, she said, "Everybody's in a hurry, you're all getting on the same plane, so please stand in the line." Then he raised his voice, "Do you know who I am?" She looked at him, promptly picked up the microphone and said, "There is a man here who does not know who he is, can somebody help him?" So, you should never address this question to someone else. All these so-called whatever, I don't know, I don't want to make comments, they all picked it up because that Ramana Maharshi's book, I think, became famous in California, okay? Everywhere you go, everybody's talking, who am I, who are you? Who am I is a question that should be addressed within you, digging every time you ask it, digging it deeper and deeper and deeper into yourself. You never go and ask somebody, who am I? That smacks of something else. I was teaching a program in Los Angeles, and this is maybe 150, 200 people. Half of them are all Hollywood types, and a whole lot of them look alike, many especially women, not because they're sisters, because they have the same doctor. And I'm teaching them an extremely simple process that they need to do every day, which is just 21 minutes, extremely simple. Just that. They're saying, "Sadhguru, you're teaching us all these things." But Ramana Maharshi said, "You don't have to do anything." Oh, Ramana came all this way from Tiruvannamalai. I said, "Yes, he is absolutely correct. You don't have to do anything." And he did nothing. He simply sat in one place like this, 14 years. Rats came and bit into his thighs, festering wounds, worms came out of it, but he did nothing, simply sat. Said, "You people are made like this, if a mosquito bites you, you'll call 911." You don't talk about doing nothing. Ramana talks about doing nothing, leave that, that's not your business. You are made like this, you don't talk about doing nothing. Ramana talked about, who am I, who am I? You never utter this to anybody. Don't ever go on… please all of you, don't go somewhere and ask someone, who am I? You can ask them, who are you? So, who am I is not even a question that you need to articulate. When I just said, the more you know about it, the better you can exist here. Not necessarily… don't always think about a human being like he's some kind of a machine, how much he has to produce, there's no such thing. But how he exists is important. When you sit here, how are you within yourself is important. What you wear may be socially important. What you drive may be important somewhere else. What kind of home you live in may be important for some other reason. But existentially, there's only one thing important. How are you within yourself? Are you pleasant or unpleasant every moment of your life? In 24 hours, how many moments of pleasantness, how many moments of unpleasantness, and how much support does it need to keep you pleasant? That's a question. Right now, in pursuit of human well-being, we've ripped the planet apart and still well-being is not happening. Comfort has happened, convenience has happened, well-being for sure has not happened, isn't it? As a generation of people, we are the most comfortable generation ever. Never before anybody could even imagine these things. But we cannot say we are the most joyful or blissful or ecstatic generation, no. Are we worse than others? I don't believe so. Every generation, same nonsense. Some people lived fantastic within themselves, others went through all the nonsense they had to go through. This is not because of what's happening to them. See, there are two kinds of suffering. Physical pain can happen to you because somebody may cause something to you, somebody is no food, you're in a war zone or somebody is poking you. I'm asking all of you, in the last 25 years, how many times it happened to you, somebody took a knife and poked you? For most of you, it didn't happen. Maybe when you're in your school, somebody poked you with a pin at the most, or you were not even worth that, nobody poked you.
They simply poked fun.
Huh?
They simply poked
Whichever.
fun at you.
Physically, how many times suffering entered you from outside? Very, very minimal. Rest is all self-help. You know, in Tamil Nadu, the government has a scheme, Namaka Name. Namake Nave, it means. That means people are on self-help, busy, causing suffering to themselves daily. Sit, stand, whatever happens. So you will see people, most of them are driving their dream machines on Bangalore streets, all right? How many are driving joyfully? If the traffic light takes 10 more seconds, they're freaking in their dream machine. Is it not a blessing that you bought this dream machine after working for whatever number of years? Why don't you… The traffic is making sure you stay in your dream machine for a little longer. What's your problem? I'm saying just about anything, people are suffering. So suffering is not happening because of something else, it's simply because people do not know how to manage their body, their mind, their energies, their emotion, nothing. Because no attention has been paid. No attention to the nature of who you are has not been paid. So who you are, who am I, question is entirely internalized question, never to be uttered, never to be written down. Unfortunately, somebody printed it, and the whole world is talking, who am I, who am I? Oh, this is okay if you are an inpatient. If you're an inpatient in NIMHANS, you ask, who am I? That's allowed. That's allowed. If you're out on the street, you are not allowed to ask, who am I? You get me?
You've also talked about…
No, there were other two questions in that.
Yes. Yes. I'm waiting for those.
Where are you going? There's only one way to find out, you must go and see. As I was saying just now, some things are best known only by experience. People want to know, after my death, what will happen? I tell them, you must know by experience. Are you ready? No, then don't worry, wait. Where did I come from? See, essentially what you're asking is, all three questions put together, you're asking, what is the nature of my existence?
Yes.
Am I this body? Am I this? Am I that? What am I? What is the nature? Because whichever way you look at it, you can prove I'm that. Because for everything there is some substance. You can prove yourself to a woman, you say, I'm not this, I'm a human being, you can say, I'm just a piece of life, you can say, I'm God, somebody may think you're something else, doesn't matter, but for everything there is some substance. So you can argue for it. But that's not the point. Really, what is the nature of your existence? Don't take this as some kind of a great philosophical or spiritual question, please see it as a practical thing. If you want to know how to use this camera well, the more you know about it, the better it is. You agree with me? Hello? Yes. Similarly, if you want to use this human being properly, the more you know about it, the better it is. So self-realization is a very practical thing, not an esoteric thing. What you think is esoteric is all the things that you don't have an understanding of. You want to make it esoteric or you want to make it mystical. Let's understand this word mysticism or mystical. Anything that you don't understand will look mystical to you, isn't it? Suppose you don't know what's electricity, you have no concept of that. Now, I press something here, boom, lights come on. Very mystical for you, isn't it? See, if I just had a light bulb 1,000 years ago, I could have claimed I'm God and it would have worked. Came too late, you know. So, the more you know about it, the better you will live. This is not something that you seek at the end of your life. This should be the first step of your life, if you value your life. Yes?
Yeah.
Knowing this should be the first step of your life. Very beginning of your life, this question should be asked. Can I tell you a story?
Please.
There was a bishop in the Greek Catholic order. The Greek Orthodox Church believes they are the only real Christians, others are not really Christians. They think they are the only pure Christians, others are not really that. They have their own pope in Istanbul. So, it became a very small group over a period of time for whatever reasons. So, being on the Silk Route, many fantastic stories from India are wafting across the Bosphorus, and these stories are going on about the mystics and the yogis and the magic of India, which the Indians have not seen and everybody else has seen. So he always wanted to go to India. But being a man of cloth, he could not really choose where to go. After 60 years of age, when he semi-retired, he got an opportunity and he came to southern India. And he found the right kind of guides. Somebody told him, you go up this mountain, and they gave him the landmarks, and here there's one yogi, he is the right one to meet for you. So he climbed up the mountain. The man is not made for mountains. You know, mountains demand certain things from you. So he went up, and as they had said, there was a yogi sitting in front of a cave, blissed out. He went and he had heard that if you see an Indian yogi, you have to prostrate. But for that also, you need some fitness. This is a part of the Indian thing because that's the only exercise most Indians do. So whatever you see, you just bow down. But now they've learned…
A shortcut there too.
Yes, the idea is to touch the floor. Every time you keep doing it through the day, it's a good exercise, you don't have to spend extra time for exercise. So he struggled and scraping himself and sat up. All this commotion, the yogi opened his eyes and smiled. So the bishop asked, can I ask you a question? The yogi said, by all means. The bishop asked, what is life? This is after 60. The damn question you should have asked when you were 6, at least 16 you must have asked. No, 60, all right, better late than never, sometime you asked. So, when he asked this question, what is life, the yogi went into raptures. And then he said, life is like the fragrance of jasmine upon gentle spring breeze. The bishop looked like this, what? fragrance of jasmine on gentle spring breeze. But our teacher told us, life is like a thorn. Once it gets into you, if you sit it hurts, if you lie down it hurts, if you stand up it hurts. And you're saying it is fragrance of jasmine, spring breeze and all this stuff. The yogi smiled and said, well, that's his life. So, we have never paid attention to the most important dimension of who you are. And you do not know life any other way than the way it happens within you.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
You are the only doorway to the existence for yourself.
Absolutely.
You can only experience through this mechanism and no other way.
Yep.
If you don't know this, what the hell are you doing here? And just because you know this, people label you as a mystic, as this, as that, and many people mispronounce it as a mistake, you know.
So one of the other things that you've talked about is, the mind, and these are my words or what I've understood of what you've said, what the mind believes, the heart follows. What is in the mind is in the heart, in a sense, if I've got it right, unless I've got it wrong. Because when you say that there is no difference between, my mind is saying this, but my heart is saying something else.
You're talking about a metaphoric heart or your heart?
I am talking about metaphoric, I'm not talking about…
Okay, not the
I'm
pump.
talking about metaphoric heart, not the heart that is, simply pumping. There is something else, which I've read some time back, which says that, you've got to search in your heart with your intellect. So there are all these things which is about the mind and the heart and, how you apply intelligence and perception to create awareness. And I think you've talked about that a little bit. Would you elaborate for us, the concept of intellect, intelligence, perception, and, how we can use that in our everyday lives?
So there's a whole lot of enterprise going on in the world by complicating very simple aspects of life, really. If you complicate something with incomprehensible words, and if you have a lot of words to do it, then you will seem profound, because anyway nobody can understand what the hell it is. So searching your heart with your intellect, the thing that you're referring to as your heart is generally the emotional side of you. So you're separating what is thought and what is emotion. Let me ask you a simple question. If you look at yourself carefully in your day-to-day activity, you will notice this. The way you think is the way you emote. Right now, if I think you are such a wonderful person, I will have sweet emotions towards you.
Which I hope you're thinking.
This is not a confession. If I think she is horrible, I'll have nasty emotions towards you.
Right.
I cannot think you're wonderful and have nasty emotions towards you. I cannot think you're horrible and have sweet emotions towards you. It is impractical and it's not possible. People act those things and it never works. People, I hate her but I'll be nice to her, they will go like this and do like this. Have you seen this happening?
Yes.
Nice things are done in a horrible way.
Right.
It is happening in families, among friends, whatever. Nice things are done in such a horrible way. If you want to do something horrible, just do something horrible at least. Don't spoil the nice things in a horrible way. So, now, the question is just this. Thought and emotion, are they same or are they two different realms? They are not. Thought is agile. See, today I can think, right now I think you're wonderful. Just next moment you did something I don't like, I think you're horrible. My thought immediately changes because it's agile. But my emotion is sappy. It'll take 3 days, it'll struggle and slowly turn around. It has a larger turning arc, but after 3 days it'll come my way. For some people it's 3 days, some people 3 months, but they will turn around, isn't it? Yes or no? The way you think is the way you feel, there is no other way. It is also true the way you feel is the way you think also. It depends which is more dominant in you. In a person, if emotion is forefront, the way they feel is the way they think. If thought is forefront, the way they think is the way they feel. You can't think one way and feel another way. That only happens temporarily, for some time, but emotion will catch up.
So Sadhguru, what is a creative mind?
Oh. How big an answer do you want?
As big as you want it.
See, the English word mind doesn't say anything. Because it's just one generic word which does not describe different dimensions of what the mind is. Mind is not just one something sitting here and doing something, okay? There is really no such thing as mind. In the yogic culture, there is no mind. There is a physical body, there is a mental body. Because what you're calling as mind right now is a certain combination of memory and intelligence. There is memory in your body, more memory in your body than you can imagine. If I have to get at you again, it's okay, I'm picking on you, okay? You definitely don't remember how your great-great-great-great-great-grandmother looked like, but her nose is sitting on your face right now. Yes?
Yes.
You don't remember a thing consciously, but your body remembers 100%. How 10 generations ago your grandmother was, your body still remembers. 1,000,000 years ago how your forefathers were, your body remembers, isn't it? It's not forgotten and it's not going to forget. Your mind is not capable of this kind of memory. Your body has 1,000,000,000,000 times more memory than your so-called brain. This whole shift towards the brain and intellectual process is a European malice. They gave too much significance to thought. This has happened because they lived under a subjugated society, religiously subjugated society where you're not supposed to think anything except what's written in some book, otherwise you're dead. They lived like this for a long time. Because of this, when they got little freedom to think and manage to live, they started celebrating their thought too much. Let's understand the context of thought. You can only think from the data that you already have gathered. That means you can never think anything new. You can recycle it, you can rehash it, you can produce permutations and combinations of it, but you cannot think something absolutely new. It is not in the nature of the thought to come up with something new. It can only recycle the past. That means, if you dedicate yourself to your thought process, if you enshrine your thought process, you're ensuring nothing new ever happens in your life. So thought need not be celebrated like this. That's why in this culture, thought has never been given so much significance. What you think is your psychological drama. We don't think much about that because it's your drama. Your drama is important for you, somebody else's drama, it's important for them. Everybody thinks their drama is the most important drama in the universe. This is everybody's experience because they're so identified with their own psychological drama. This psychological drama should not determine the nature of your life because this is just a small happening compared to the life process. Life is a much deeper intelligence than intellect. We can look at… the yogic system looks at the mind as 16 parts. Those 16 parts are further broken and they're taken up to 84,000 parts. But now if I talk about 84,000, already there's a segment which says no, so I will make it 4. I'm taking away 80, okay? I'm being fair to you. Only 4. 4 fundamental parts. One is the intellect, which we have in modern world, in today's world, we are unnecessarily giving too much significance to intellect and we will pay an enormous price for this. You will come to a place where you'll know everything, but you'll know nothing of life significance, really. Today you will see this happening to children. For the first time, this generation you see, 10, 11-year-old or 12-year-old children, they look bored. When you were 10, 11, you did not know what is boredom, it was not possible. It was too exciting to be alive and looking around. You will see 10, 12-year-old children all looking bored because they've seen the cosmos through their phone screen. They know it all. And especially in the Western countries, you will see this happening at 8, 10. They're really bored. You will see in the school buses, they're all sitting on… bored. Because by the time you're 12, you already had one love affair, you know what is a break, you know how to all this recover from that, you tasted alcohol, you've seen this, probably you've gone into all kinds of physical things, and you know the cosmos. What more? By the time you're 15, there's really no purpose for you to exist for many of them. You should not be surprised if this culture continues. I'm not saying this is a prediction, it is something that I see beginning to happen. In another 50 or 100 years' time, if 25 to 50% of the people commit suicide, you should not be surprised, because life needs some exuberance. If too much information happens to you without experience, that exuberance will be gone and a false sense of knowing becomes so strong in you. This is the danger of intellect, because intellect wants to dissect everything. Intellect is like a scalpel, the sharper it is, the better it is, it wants to dissect and know. Dissection works with some things, not with all aspects of life. If you want to know the poor frog, you remember? The poor frog that you crucified and cut, and great knowledge you acquired from all that torture is unbelievable. How much knowledge you know. For the torture that frog went through, how much knowledge you have acquired is quite unbelievable. All that you got to know. Now you got interest, suddenly you got interested, the mother that you had ignored, you want to know your mother today. Please get yourself a sharp knife, start the dissection. You may know everything about her liver, kidney, heart, but you won't have a mother left, that's all. So life cannot be known by breaking it up. You can know physical things by breaking it up. You cannot know life by breaking it into pieces. But this is the nature of the intellect. The whole modern science has evolved from human intellect. Because it's produced technological benefits, you can't argue against it, because people,
yeah.
They think they're scientists, they know nothing about science. They're just enjoying their iPhone. They think they're scientists because they can do this. No, technology is fine, it's brought much comfort and convenience, but it will not bring life to us. So intellect is like this. Intellect will be useful only depending upon what it is identified with and what is held, what holds this, how steadily. So the next dimension of the mind, the first one is called as buddhi, which is the intellect, the second one is called as ahankara. Ahankara does not mean ego, this, that, it means the identity. Whatever you identified with, your intellect functions only around that. Simple, if you just identify with a nation, if you say, I'm an Indian, everything Indian looks beautiful. If you cross the border and you say you're something else, all that looks beautiful. So whatever you identified with, it's only with that the intellect functions. So ahankara is the identity. How consciously and how steadily your ahankara has been created will determine the effectiveness of your intellect. Just because it's sharp, it does not mean it'll be effective, because sharp intellect or a sharp knife can cause any amount of damage to you. If you have a sharp knife and you don't have a steady hand, you will cut yourself all over the place. That's all that's happening. Human suffering is just this. You don't know how to hold this intellect in your hand properly. Every day you're cutting yourself. All suffering is on self-help because your own mind causing this to you all the time. No matter what happens, people suffer, whichever way they suffer, because they don't know how to hold this intellect. If you had the mind of an earthworm, you would be quite peaceful. Yes? You're trying to do it in so many ways to reduce the sharpness of the intellect by drink, by drug, by overeating, by doing all kinds of things somehow to take away the sharpness because the damn thing hurts. It hurts not because that's its nature, it hurts because you do not know how to hold it. The next dimension of the mind is called as manas, which is a huge volume of memory. It is not here or there, entire body carries memory. So, manomaya kosha, this is called, a huge sack of memory. This memory is in various stacks, we'll not go into all these details considering some people have said a clear no. They don't want to have a mind, I'm sorry, they don't want to know anything about the mind. So the fourth dimension of the mind is called as chitta. Chitta means it's pure intelligence. It is unsullied by memory. It has no trace of any kind of memory, it's just pure intelligence. If you touch this, then you have access to what you're referring to as the source of creation, because all kinds of things might have been fed to you. God is this, God is love, God is compassion, God is kind, whatever. Somebody come, stand on the edge of this stage, say all the prayer you want to say and fall. Let me see whether compassion happens to you or a cracked bone happens to you. I would like to check, all right? All these things have been made up because whatever somebody is deprived of, they will attribute that quality to their idea of God. Your ideas of God have come only because you do not know how this whole creation happened. Because you don't have an answer, you made it up. Because you're a human being, you said a big human being is sitting up there. Oh, how can you do all this? If somebody asks, he has 10 hands, so he does lot of things, not like you. Whatever, it's all right for children. But essentially because you do not know how creation happened, you are coming up with explanations. So that which is the source of creation, don't believe what I say, what anybody says. Pay attention to one piece of creation. Just take a flower, pay attention to this, pay an attention to a leaf or an atom or an ant. All you will see is phenomenal intelligence beyond anything you can imagine, yes? But nobody told you God is intelligence. But this culture has said this to you in many ways. They told you Chidakasha, Chidambara and so many things to tell you if you touch your chit, the whole existence becomes yours. Everything that's worth knowing is right here because you have access to the source of creation. So these are the four dimensions of your mind. Unfortunately, the modern education thinks by just feeding information and keeping the intellect reasonably sharp, everything is going to happen. No. You will rip this planet apart looking for well-being. You may lose the planet, or you may manage to go to another planet and start your work again there. But well-being will not happen. If well-being has to happen, you have to dig a little deeper into this one, otherwise, no.